We've got 4 ballers in the house wearing our rookie rose-colored glasses after the beauty day we had yesterday at the Combine. We got a special edition BALLiN Live. We got Kevein Wheeler. We got Bradley. We got Eric the Shiva. Guys, let's start BALLiN live.
Go district.
JD.
Bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, ball. And I bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. It's the Go district, y'all. I ball, cause I bleed. Hey, bleeding, I ball. Defeated the odds, didn't see him at all. JD in the pies, I needed it all. I bleeded a lie. You bleeded a lie, not bleeded a lie. And that's what I go do. Facts, let me show you. Happen to know dudes. Drafting, they don't do bad and they don't lose. Make you wanna bleed. It's the Go District boys giving you the business and no gimmicks. The best ball drafts got me feeling like it's Christmas. Then it's Christmas all of a sudden and these riches came from nothing. And I got this all from loving the district. See, I just drafted, forget it. I laughed at the critics, they mad at the digits. I clap back by listening. See, ballin' ain't a problem if you kick it with them off. And I refresh the feed till autumn, then I bleed, go.
All right, guys, we are BALLiN. Bradley is on the clock.
You are up next.
And look at that. He takes the first pick. I haven't even had a look at it. Let me just adjust the screen. Welcome, everyone, to BALLiN Live. I'm on the clock at 3. We're going to go with Travis Kelce, tight end premium, number 3. The 2 receivers fresh off the board. Oh, hold on. My screen's not even refreshed here. Let me refresh that for you guys. JJ goes the first overall to Brad. BESTBALL Fantasy, guys. Make sure you check him out on YouTube. And Bradley, how many shorts have you dropped in the last couple days, buddy? Give us a number. Over under. What's the over under?
Over under like 50.
I love it. Bradley is the shorts machine. Shout out to him and his channel, guys. Go check it out on YouTube. We've got Kevein in the house. You guys, hopefully you caught last week's show. If you haven't, go check it out. Wheeler and I dropped a $35 super flex best ball tournament on our favorite site, the FFPC. And then today we doubled the players in the room today with the Shiva, man. The Shiva is a high stakes beast. He plays the high stakes best balls, the 250s, the 77s, and every once in a while he joins us in the 35s. We appreciate all 3 of you guys with us today, and the chat is already lit. So it's going to be a fun one today, guys.
Man, I'm already getting sniped here. We're only in round 1. This is going to be a long one.
It's going to be a lot of snipes. So again, for those that are not watching, guys, check us out on YouTube and Spotify. You can watch the show, but give you a little audio of the board right now with JJ Chase. As I said, I took Kelce. CMC goes off as the first running back. JT, Eckler, and then Cup goes off the board. Any surprises so far, Bradley, for you?
Yeah, I think this is the highest I've seen Jonathan Taylor go at the 5 spot. Usually he's going at the 9 to 12 spot. I've even seen him go early second round, but going 5 in a full PPR, like Jonathan Taylor, yeah, he increased his pass catching this past year, and I think that's why they facilitated the Nyheim Hines trade. But still, for him to be able to access top 2 running back, that's at least an eyebrow raise given the other options on the board.
Yeah, so he's been going. JT has been going. Actually, his average in the last kind of 30 days, based on Fantasy Mojo, shout out to our favorite site for ADPs on the FFPC, is JT at 7. So couple spots. I agree, though. Earlier in the drafts, he was definitely going a lot later, sometimes even into the early second.
Yeah, I'm usually waiting until I get him at the 1-2 turn. I wouldn't draft him before that.
All right, JD, I'm not going to follow my own advice here. So
it's a good strategy.
Dude, we're going to get the shots flowing right now, man. That'll make Theo happy, man. Shout out to Theo.
Hey, if you guys are watching, let us know if you prefer when we're on the side of the screen or the bottom of the screen. Still trying to figure that out because I know on some TVs the outsides don't always show up the same. So if you guys have input on that, either in the comments live or even post show, if you're watching the replay of this thing, that would help us out. We appreciate it. And smash that like if you like what you're seeing, guys. We're going to talk strategy today. We're going to talk what we saw at the combine yesterday. We're going to talk rookies. We're going to talk rankings right now. So I left off at 7 with Cup. Then it just pissed yellow for the rest of the first round with Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, and A.J. Brown finishing off the first. Bijan, the first rookie off the board, of course. Garrett Wilson, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley. Wow, we're flying. St. Brown, Jacobs, and Waddle go off the board. I'm going to go back to my little draft room as it's coming up. Any, Wheeler, anything catching your eye so far in the first 2 rounds?
Josh Jacobs in the second. I have him much lower. I might be lower than consensus, but I think that's way too high. Like, I think in my rankings, I wouldn't even consider him until the late 3rd, early 4th.
Now you are on the clock.
Would it matter if he remained in Vegas?
I just don't. It depends on who they get at quarterback, I think. I don't see him repeating the same year. I guess if he stays in Vegas, possibly.
Everything broke right for that dude.
Everything broke right for that. Like, and whoever got him at a supreme value all year long. Like, I just think there are guys who I have more faith in to perform than Josh Jacobs.
In a 250 draft I did last year, I think I scooped him up in the middle of round 4, which was probably still too early.
Next.
But he definitely paid dividends for the people that got him after the first 3-4 rounds for sure.
I don't know. He's just one of those guys I've always hedged against. Maybe it's a blind spot for me too, though. I definitely regret not scooping him up in the 5th, 6th last year, or even the 4th. There are other guys I like above him that I have more faith in. Other than that, Jalen Hurts, quarterback in the 2nd round. Yeah, I'm not going to get used to this early quarterback. I'm just not.
You're seeing it in every draft on every platform, right? Whether it's drafters, whether it's I'm not allowed on Underdog, but I'm assuming that you've got those happy drafts where you take Kelsey and then Mahomes, or take AJ Brown and then Hurts, or that kind of stack right off the bat, and then build from that. And we called it on the GOAT District. I mean, last season, how the way the season was going, how these quarterbacks are going to be really high in these drafts. And I remember even saying early second, and somebody kind of giggled, but look at where we are now, right? They're getting super early.
Yeah, I don't think it's the smart move, but
Shiva, what have you been doing with quarterbacks up in the 250s and the 77s?
Man,
What are you taking?
I gotta be honest here. I'm a big fan of, if I can get Mahomes in around 3 man in those bigger leagues, I like it. I mean, I know it's early, but I mean, if you can get a quarterback that can consistently outproduce pretty much all other 30 to 29 other quarterbacks, like by a pretty significant margin as far as ceiling is concerned, like, I'm a fan of that. And I would much rather get Mahomes in like round 4, round 5, round 6, but he's not going there, and neither is Hurts. So, like, I feel like if you want that quarterback advantage, go ahead. But on the flip side of that, you kind of miss out on middle round guys that take a big leap forward too. So,
shout out to the chat. Keep it going. And shout out to Todd Burrows. Keep it going, Eric.
Man, we got a quarterback run going here, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's usually those 3, right? In a bunch in the first couple rounds, in the first 3 rounds. And then you've got what we call on the show, the FOMO, right? Like who's kind of chasing that with the Fields and the other guys, sorry, I don't want to mention names. I always forget about that when we're doing the live shows. It's tricky, right, Kevin, to tiptoe around not giving up names that are still not off the board?
It's definitely tricky, but I really feel like everybody in this draft is here because because it's on the stream. So, like, sorry to those that are unaware, but or are not listening, but you know.
No, but that's super valid, Kevin. And I want to thank all the guys that jumped in this draft because we posted it. There was nobody in this thing, and we filled it pretty quick. And that's 2 weeks in a row. So you guys are loving the show. We're loving hanging out with you guys on the weekends. We might try this on weeknights, maybe a little later at night, but we'll see how the schedules work out. But we are definitely going to keep this going all off season, at least once a week. So keep hanging in with us on the weekends or for these BALLiN lives. So we've got 3 tight ends off the board. I took Kelsey in the first at 3. Andrews came back as tight end 2 to the 5 spot, and then TJ Hawk just went off in the 3rd round. And I'll read off the 3rd round again for those listening. Any surprise with the tight end? How are you guys approaching tight end, especially in these tight end premiums? Bradley, we'll start with you.
Yeah, if I can get Kelsey in the first 4 picks, I think that's where I want to go with that. He's just his multi-tiers above the other tight ends when it comes to upside. And we saw that even over the last couple of years, he hasn't lost a step. Maybe the argument is, well, Tyreek Hill had to leave for him to maintain that target volume. But we're banking on, like, if you say that Travis Kelce is going to lose it, you're thinking that, well, I've got to hedge then with Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore and other players who are talented but haven't shown consistent production in that Chiefs offense. So I'm comfortable taking Travis Kelce even at the 101 in these drafts through the first 4 picks. If he falls after that, it's a gift. And then Andrews, Hawkinson, Andrews, I think, and Kittle should be in the first next couple tiers, and then Hawkinson, I like the volume, but we'll see how Minnesota addresses that wide receiver 2 position, because Thielen really fell off last year. KJ Osborne's really not a wide receiver 2. And I'm not confident that TJ Hawkinson can really take that next step forward. So I think round 3 is a pricey, a pretty expensive price to pay for TJ Hawkinson. It feels like Kyle Pitts, but at least a little bit more of what you're getting from TJ Hawkinson. You have a higher floor. And of course, Kittle and Goddard go off the board.
I know, right after, back to back in the middle of the 4th there. So I'll make
I like that.
Go ahead.
I like that.
These live drafts are significantly different than some of the slow drafts.
Oh, yeah.
At least the live drafts I've been a part of, even dating back to last year and the year before. For some reason, in these live drafts, the quarterbacks go. And I've been on the unfortunate end where it's like, okay, I'm going to wait till round 8 or 9 or 10 and keep scooping up these players. And then you're literally left with these Baker Mayfields for whatever reason. They go pretty early in some of these live drafts for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And Brad, I like your little comparison to Hawkinson this year to Pitts last year. It kind of feels that way, but we do have more consistent performance over the years, or at least the last year and a half, 2 years from Hawkinson.
What about Hawkinson compared to Schultz, where they get drafted in those 8, 9, 10? Well, I guess Schultz was free a couple years ago. You were scooping them up really late, but it feels like they emerge. They have a couple monster games, and then they're pushed up into that round 3, 4 range.
If Schultz was back with Dallas, I would say you'd be considering him. Not, I would say in the 5th and 6th here, but I just don't know if Schultz doesn't have the talent. I don't think that Hawkinson has. Schultz was the right place, right time. If Schultz ends up anywhere else, no, thank you.
I'm with you. Maybe we get Gesicki to Dallas, man.
Yeah, I don't think Schultz will be back. That's for sure.
No.
And with all the tight ends coming out of this draft, it's going to be a tough market for some of these free agents.
Yeah, Mongoose is in this draft too, man. He's a tough dude.
Yeah, this draft is pretty loaded.
All right, yeah, I think we literally combined know everybody in the draft.
You're pretty close to it, yeah. I might not know them, but I've seen the names for sure.
And actually, if you're listening, say something in the chat. Not that I'm looking at the chat, but
Where do we even find the chat?
Um,
Like technology, like not coherent.
I think you got to go on YouTube.
Yeah,
I have a YouTube stream, but
that would make sense.
it's on my TV, so I'm not looking at the chat at all.
So there's some comments in the chat about Schultz versus, being anywhere else. My comparison for Schultz is like Austin Hooper. Like Hooper was a top 5 tight end when he was with Atlanta and was a fine, like athletic specimen, wasn't exceptional, but he signed a big contract somewhere else and was pretty disappointing. Like we were disappointed with Austin Hooper in Cleveland, disappointed with Austin Hooper in Tennessee. And I think that's more of the reality that Dallas didn't have a wide receiver too, really. Like it was CeeDee Lamb, and then who else? They traded away Amari Cooper for beans.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Harry Snowman, shout out to Harry Snowman. He's always a big supporter of the show, getting Jones in the 5th. I'm surprised his ADP hasn't risen more, signing back in Green Bay. You got to think whether Rodgers is there, which it doesn't look like he will be. They'll probably lean, my guess is they lean more on the run game, and Aaron Jones obviously signing back there is going to be a big part of it. We've seen, top 12 seasons, RB seasons from him now for the last 4 in a row. He's been a top 12 and RB1. So I like getting him after, getting a top end tight end and then 3 solid receivers in the first 4 rounds.
Well, last year he was top 10 in yards created per touch, top 10 in yards created. His efficiency metrics were phenomenal. His true yards per carry were still good. Aaron Jones can still create even with Jordan Love as the quarterback. That's why I'm still believing that he's a good pick. I like that.
And even at 28, we're seeing these old running backs, right? These veteran running backs. I mean, they're putting stats together, man. And it's going to be interesting seeing this offseason again with all the rookies, all the free agent running backs. The musical chairs is definitely going to be entertaining. But I love getting Aaron Jones and the security that we got from him when he signed earlier in Green Bay.
Yeah, dude, he's way undervalued, man. Way undervalued. That dude's been top, what is it, like top 11 4 consecutive years? Like, I mean, that's
4 years in a row he's been, an RB1.
Yeah, I mean, that, and his efficiency is so good.
Everybody's just waiting for Dylan to take over his job, and it's just not happening. Jones.
No, man, I was huge on. Yeah, I learned that lesson 2 years ago.
Jones re-signed that contract and kind of just put Dylan back on the back burner.
I'm going to take some heat here for not going with the stack with Dak and Lamb, but I don't know, dude. Dak scares me. Anyways, just my own being selfish here.
Yeah, Eric is not a fan of the Dak, but he's definitely a fan of the Lamb, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's weird how that correlates, right?
It's like he listens to a band. He doesn't like the one member, but he's a big fan of the other one. So it's pain and joy at the same time.
He likes the drummer, not the guitarist.
It's like the sweet and salty popcorn, My daughter and my wife are going bananas on those right now. That's their favorite snack, so that's why that's top of mind for me. So, all right, I'm gonna read the 4th or you know what? I'll go through. No, I didn't do the 3rd, right? So I'll do the 3rd. I'll go through the next 3 rounds and then get you guys caught up for those listening. We appreciate you guys listening. Breece Hall, T.J. Hawk, T. Higgins, for me as my wide receiver 2, Kenneth Walker, Josh Allen, Mahomes, Ramondre Stevenson, DK for 1912. Harris, Samuel, Pollard is a nice one for Shiva. And then Justin Fields comes back, Olave, Gibbs, DJ Moore, Joe Burrow, DeAndre Swift, back-to-back tight ends with Kittle, Goddard, and then Amari Cooper, Judy. I picked up London, Lamar Jackson as the QB6, Mike Williams, Justin Herbert, Chris Godwin. I picked up Aaron Jones as the RB17, Christian Watson, Pittman, Dalvin Cook, Javonte Williams. We're in the 6th, the middle of the 6th, Kyle Pitts, Damian Pierce, J.K. Dobbins, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins. We start the 6th that was the 5th. We start the 6th with Tyler Lockett, Trevor Lawrence as the QB8, Cam Akers, Calvin Ridley, and then Deshaun Watson. Where are you guys on the Ridley Kirk? I'm seeing Ridley this time going off the board ahead of Kirk. I mean, Kirk was awesome last year. Ridley with a year off. Where are you on that? I'll go to Shiva first and then Wheeler just because you guys just picked.
I mean, it's tough, man. Like, I don't know. I know that offense is ascending and it's going to be better, at least in my opinion. And yeah, I think they got a chance to be a top 5, top 6 offense this year. But when I got two guys like that are going, kind of that close around that, wide receiver 28, 29 range, and I know Kirk's been a wide receiver, high-end wide receiver 2, Ridley's finished as a wide receiver 1. I don't know which one's going to hit. I'd rather take Zay Jones, 7 rounds later. Even though he might not be the clear-cut alpha, he doesn't have to be. You already saw him in year 1 with Trevor Lawrence put up massive spike weeks, league-winning type weeks. I don't have any Kirk yet through 30 drafts. I don't have any Ridley yet through 30 drafts. For me, I just rather – I don't know which one's going to hit, which one's going to miss. I'd rather just play it safe and go Zay Jones, who – still going to be a wide receiver 3 with massive ceiling weeks.
I like that. I like that when there's questions, right? You go for we learned that from the New England backfield. When there's questions, you take the James White, right?
Option, dude.
Yep. I love that. I'm going to stack a bit here with Pacheco, with Kelsey here at the end of the 6th.
Yeah, I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts on that situation too.
Wheeler, where are you in the 2? Yeah,
I have him about even. I'll flip flop on him. I actually have very little Ridley just because he has been going first. I have a decent amount of Kirk, but for both of them, I guess 6th round is appropriate. I'm higher on Marquise Brown than both of them. I like Terry McLaurin better than both of them, but I could see drafting them where they were. And 6 of this, half the other. Like, I think they're going to flip-flop games. They'll both succeed. Kirk isn't going to have the same – what did he end up? Wide receiver 14 overall, I think. I don't think he's going to have the same. And I think I can stake the claim that I was higher on Kirk than anybody last year. Like, in Fantasy Pros, when they do the bold calls, I called Christian Kirk a top 12 wide receiver. I tried to make sure I had him ranked ahead of everybody, but we'll see. People change last second. Like, I saw Christian Kirk coming. He's very talented. He signed a big contract. When he had the field to himself, or very little competition for targets, yeah, he's a top 12 receiver. But where he's going at wide receiver 30, I think he's a value now. Or appropriately drafted. He'll probably end up wide receiver 20 to 24, maybe. So where he's going is fine. And Ridley, he's had too much time off to be able to really pick up where he left off.
I'm with you,
it's going to take some time. But I mean, if he gets reinstated tomorrow, he joins the team the next day. All of a sudden, he has plenty of time, right?
All of a sudden, he's Michael Thomas. Come on.
Oh yeah, he could be that too. He could be that too, for sure.
No, I've been going Kirk personally. I've been going Kirk ahead of Ridley. The guy who's been he did it so well last year. I didn't think he would be as productive and really carry that wide receiver 1 role, but him and Lawrence just clicked. And to me, that's the rapport that the QB and the wide receiver builds is not one to take lightly. So I think that continues to grow. I love Ridley coming in to take attention from Kirk. And I mean, look, that team just gets better, right? If Ridley can get back on it, but I think it takes a bit of time for him. And I think that for 2023, I'm going to be taking Kirk ahead of Calvin. A little run of tight ends here with Ingram in the 7th at 7-4, Waller. Then the Muth goes off. Wheeler probably crying. And then Njoku, 1912, takes his 2nd tight end in the 7th.
I would be, those tight ends going. I was hoping for it on the way back more than, it probably wouldn't have come back to me either. But now I got a little dilemma.
Yeah, don't snipe me, man.
So Wheeler's on the clock with Devontae Adams, Derrick Henry, Deebo Samuel, DJ Moore, and then Dobbins and Akers.
I don't think I'm actually going to snipe you here. but you might have changed your mind in the past round and a half too. I went with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did have Dak and Lawrence both in my queue, and I had Lamb, so it was like, oh, you can get the stack. But like,
would you have gone 2 quarterbacks there though?
No, I would not have. You
wouldn't have. I should have waited for him to come back then. The only reason I took him is like I figured 18 picks after you considered him in the first place, you might just double up on quarterback and never draft him.
Right? Like
right.
So the 7th goes JSN, Mixon, James Conner, my 3rd running back, Ingram, Waller, tight end 8, Ayuk, wide receiver 35. Then Muth and Njoku go off. Tyler Algier as RB 27. Dak goes off as QB 10 for Wheeler. Treylon Burks, and then Schultz goes off at tight end 11, and he taps it with Miles Sanders as the RB 28 on the end of the 7th, coming into the 8th.
Yeah, I'm going to take what I think is a value pick here with A.J. Dillon as RB 29, even though he doesn't have the workload to himself, other than his rookie year, he really, he's kind of been a back-end RB2.
Yeah.
I feel like he's got a little room for upside, I feel like, in my opinion. I'm curious to know Brad and Wheeler's and your thoughts on A.J. Dillon as well.
Yeah, well, with all the Green Bay paraphernalia in the background, you're
asking the right guy.
A.J. Dillon is, he's a power back, strong. He is a capable pass catcher. That's the thing, 90% catch rate of the targets. And Aaron Jones light, like if there is a handcuff with value, like it's A.J. Dillon, like it's the Kareem Hunt corollary, from the last couple of years.
Yep.
But A.J. Dillon, I think standalone value, we were expecting more last year, and I think that this pendulum swing may, in fact, come to fruition. It's possible that Green Bay splits it 50-50 evenly instead of maybe like 55-45 like they have the last year or so with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. But we saw Dillon have a strong finish to the 2022 season, so I think that's fine taking him in round 8.
He gave you 18% last year as an RB1, which is pretty good considering you're in the 8th round right now. And we always talk about you're telling a story. These guys are not supposed to be RB1s for you every single week. And then RB2 24% of the time. So he's 40% of the time he's giving you top 24 production. I think that's in the 8th round is good value. And I think because people got burned the last couple of years with him, that he is falling in drafts. I always see it. He's falling, and he's kind of one of those late round running backs that I think he's a nice like depth piece. Like you've got him as your RB3, but he gives you good upside too.
And totally I think agree. Wheeler and I were talking about this before we went on the air, but like I think I love running backs that have standalone value, but also have a ton of upside, I guess you could say, ceiling, if one thing breaks their way. If Aaron Jones misses 2 or 3 games, there's a very strong chance that some of these 8-10 point games from A.J. Dillon become 17-18, and not saying Aaron Jones is going to get hurt or anything like that, but like A.J. Dillon's not going to give you a 0. Like he's pretty much getting touches every week. And if one thing breaks his way, the sky's the limit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. He has been going a little bit later, but I think that's where his value is.
And Wheeler, too, you and I are kind of stuck in the back end of this draft here, so we don't have the luxury. And I think JD is, too. So is
we're on the other end, yeah. So he wouldn't have come back. To you. I guarantee you, he wouldn't have come back.
Yeah. I mean, none of us have the luxury of kind of waiting. We almost got to like plant our flag and say, "This is what we're doing."
Someone sniped me on Kirk Cousins. Thank you, Mongoose.
Ooh, there it is. There it is.
Mongoose is a beast. Like he just did that on purpose.
Takes out the 101 stack with Cousins and JJ.
I think I saw the FFPC tweet about him last year where like he won like a bunch of like bare knuckle challenges or something where like I guess you don't have a draft sheet, you're not allowed to use any notes, and like you have to have all these players memorized to know who's off the board.
Yeah, they've got that at the FFPC at the live draft, man.
Like I mean,
awesome.
he
well, I'm gonna come back around and snipe him. So
There you go.
Yeah,
I like the Jordan Addison pick, man.
I like the
Oh,
Bateman
man,
pick.
Holy
Yeah.
cow, your wide receivers are nasty.
Yeah, they
Wow.
are.
Tons
So-
of ceiling right there, boy. Wow.
Did I hear Addison didn't have a great combine yesterday?
Yeah, he tweaked his back a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe that's what headed.
I mean, that's all I need to hear, really. Like, if there's any excuse, it's a one-day performance. Sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't. So if he tweaked his back, that makes sense. Like,
I'll
Okay.
take Gabe Davis in the 9th round. I'm surprised he's still there. I almost took him like a couple picks ago.
this is where he should be going, though, right? The 8th, 9th round last year when he was
I love
creeping
it.
to the 3rd or 4th. That was ridiculous.
As my
JD's
wide receiver
getting-
4, I
I mean,
love it, man.
Look at JD with Aaron Jones at RB17, and then James Conner as an RB3 at RB26 overall. If that
Herbert.
he's healthy, he's not finishing as RB26. It's just not in the cards. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Well, we
Connor's
saw him
definite
over
value.
The last 8 weeks of the season, James Conner didn't finish worse than the running back 19 any week.
Yeah, dude, he's.
That's-
I mean, he's not a monster at this point in his career. He plays on a bad team too. I mean, with quarterback limo, but I mean, he's good when he's on the field, man.
He's been a top 9 running back the last 2 seasons, fantasy
Yep.
points per game.
Yep, I'm
I mean,
a fan. I mean,
in the
that's
7th
crazy.
round?
He makes, like Wheeler's talking about going 0 RB sometimes. When you can get James Conner around 7, I mean, dude.
Look, man, the beauty of these
that's-
drafts, especially the 28 round, and you'll know this, Shiva, the 28 round drafts, you can build your roster so many ways. And that's, speaking of the FFPC, guys, that's why we love the FFPC. That's why we're drafting on it right now. They've got so many options for these best balls. Right now, we're just doing like a $35, 28 round, 1 QB, tight end premium. And I mean, you can go so many ways. You can build so many ways. I clustered, my 4 RBs from round 5 to round 8. Now I feel good at the position, man. I can just smash every other position, maybe throw in another RB later on. But that's kind of one way that you can, go. Or you could go, like you said, Eric, maybe take one anchor type of running back and then, take guys later. There's so many ways to build. Bradley, what's your favorite kind of RB build? I feel like you're early, don't you? I'm trying to find you've got a couple early there with Chubb and Hall.
Yeah, I felt like those were good values there. I like Breece Hall. I think if he didn't tear his ACL, we'd be talking about him in the conversation as the 101 overall.
Yeah, easy.
Because when he took over the Jets backfield last year, he was just rattling off 20, 25-point games easily, even in a timeshare. He was 5th among all running backs last year in rate of flex games, like games in which he provided not only a floor, but also could access ceiling. And he should be ready to go for week 1. Maybe for the first couple weeks, he's, at 50% snaps, but I expect that he's going to take over. So I like those picks. I love Nick Chubb in the 2nd to 3rd rounds. I think he should be going mid-2nd. But when it comes to running backs, like I love a lot of the value of these running backs in the middle rounds. Like, I think I was getting too running back happy in the first couple drafts of like, oh, I want to get McCaffrey or I want to get, Saquon Barkley. But the reality is you're going to get a lot of value from a 5th or I've even seen Dalvin Cook fall in the 7th round in some places. Joe Mixon falling the 7th round in this.
It's
draft.
so thick,
like,
man. It's so thick right now at running back, right? With all the
that's
rookies,
why
the old
attacking
guys.
like Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill, like going with those guys, or even going with Travis Kelce, as where the direction of your draft. When you go with Kelce, you've got that, and then you're going to be targeting Patrick Mahomes later on in rounds 2 or 3. So that's like gives you like a direction of your structure that can access elite upside. So that's all it's about, is trying to see where can I get this upside from. And so sometimes it's anchor, sometimes that just makes sense for your build, but sometimes it's, I haven't drafted a running back since round 3, and we're now going to be in round 10. So
yeah, but those sexy receivers though, Bradley, come on.
Yeah, but look at your wide receivers, man.
When Andrew watches this, he's gonna get a little moist when he sees the yellow that you put down the first row there.
I wasn't listening to you guys. That Jameson Williams pick was clutch there, Bradley.
He sniped me on that one. You sniped me on that one big time.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite plays. What did he go off as wide receiver 33? Oh boy, like he's Will Fuller.
That's a steal.
He's Deshaun Jackson. He's got the speed, and Jared Goff can get the ball to him. So let's see.
And it could be Anthony Richardson if you believe any of these mock drafts that are floating around on Twitter.
I wouldn't think that in Detroit. Like Anthony Richardson should be great. Like I think he's going to be fantastic NFL quarterback, but I don't like Detroit isn't. They have a good enough quarterback to get them to the Super Bowl. Like I would think they would want to go in another direction.
You would, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Like I've been a Goff hater since he came into the league, but over the past last year, Goff proved to me, you know what? He is an NFL quarterback. Yes, he had been to the Super Bowl already and didn't prove it to me until last year. But like, he's an NFL quarterback. He doesn't, he may not be the top NFL quarterback, but he can get you to the Super Bowl. He's already done it.
Yeah. And it was with McVay, but
right.
He definitely looked good last year. There's no question about that.
Yeah, there's no doubt he leaned on McVay when he had McVay, but that's why last year proved it to me. Like, they were horrible, and then they turned their season around and almost made the playoffs. Like that to me is an indication that he can lead this team or any team.
Yeah, I don't hate Jared Goff.
And all of us talking him up meant Bradley couldn't stack.
Look, I got sniped.
You got a lot of ways to stack though.
But I also wanted Kyler Murray there. I feel like Kyler is undervalued. I know he's going to miss some weeks, but as a quarterback too in a lot of your drafts, I love the upside that he offers at that spot. So I've been smashing a lot of Kyler. I feel like this is. And
after that, there's a drop off.
Are we getting more yellow from Best Ball Ringer here?
Yeah, I think that's the only guy left there that you took. Bradley.
Well, there we go.
I was hoping he'd come back to me for the double tap, but that was a nice pick. I think Lance and Murray for me are the best values at the quarterback position right now. Like QB 17 and QB 18 with these guys, you could see them easily being in the top 10 each.
Jay,
I agree with that too.
I don't want to go backwards here, but can we talk about Mike Evans as the wide receiver 32?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's better than that.
Maybe I live on an island. I don't know, dude, but like that's crazy to me, man.
I mean, there were some warning signs coming into 2022 that he wasn't going to perform well. He was the only wide receiver in the top 24 fantasy points per game in 2021 that had below a 20% target share.
Yeah, you know what? And
guys, let's take a moment right now. Let's take a moment. I've got my rose-colored glasses on. I'm sending a message to Chris Ballard right now. Like, Chris Ballard, I know you're watching.
Of course.
I'm taking this man. I'm moving up to take this man as my QB2, but as QB1 in Indy, CJ Stroud is going to be sexy QB.
I love Stroud.
I love him as my QB2, baby, in the 11th round. Let's go.
I don't hate him.
He looked pretty yesterday. I mean, what a just calm, cool, collected passer. Accuracy. He's got all of it, man. So
nobody talks about his rushing ability, man. Nobody talks about his rushing ability. Now, he's not a runner like Lamar, but that dude is not. He ain't Peyton Manning.
Well, when you've got Anthony Richardson running a 4.43, it's hard to talk about anyone else's rushing ability.
I give you that. That's fair.
Yeah, I've had Stroud as my QB1 coming off the board.
So just to let you guys know, and I'll pull up the actual tweet, but I put out a tweet yesterday before any of the festivities, asking from the Goat District Twitter account, guys, go follow it at Goat District, And I put a poll out. Do you guys think that Bryce Young is still the QB1? It was like huge tilt for Bryce Young. Yeah, he's still going to be the first quarterback. This morning I went up. CJ Stroud by far 80+% as the first quarterback off the board, according to the peeps.
Yeah, it should be Stroud.
It's one of those things with the rookies. It's very similar to, you tell yourself if you invest or if you play, whether it's crypto or stocks or, don't FOMO. You got to do this when this happens, but the emotions take over, right? And we're starting to see that with the rookies now, with the combine. The emotions are taking over, and we're going to start seeing in these drafts a lot of these ADPs change because of that. So when you're looking at previous ADP and you're doing your drafts, just think about that. If you want a guy, and he's hot right now, he's probably going to be moving up. So you got to calculate that when you're deciding where you're going to take him.
I totally agree. In fact, like we can see it start now. As soon as you get to the double-digit rounds, get your guys. Roshan Johnson, 11th round.
Did he just go?
Yeah.
Not crazy.
I mean, he probably, he might have gotten them quite a bit later, but
that's unbelievable.
He must have just popped and did something at the combine. You know what I mean? Like,
we're all missing it, man. We're doing a draft. We should be watching it.
I have it on TV, but I'm not looking at it. Right? Oh, shoot, it's my pick.
Dude.
I gotta get that.
I got Rashawn Johnson earlier this week in the 17th round on Drafters.
Shout out to Cody Carpenter. I've been smashing Roshan everywhere.
Dude, that dude's awesome, man. I love Cody, dude.
Yeah, man, dude, he's one of the hardest working dudes out there right now. And if you want to learn about rookies, man, check out Cody Carpenter right now. He's awesome.
We got to throw some shots, don't we? Don't we?
Yes, you do.
We throw one. I mean, it's risky. They're all risky. They all got questions. Who knows? God dang it. I really liked Roshan, dude. Like, that was my boy. All right. I'm throwing a dart. I'm going out on a limb, and here we go.
I love
that's a good one.
I like the Trey McBride. Well, there you go, rookie running back, RB41.
A-Chain's supposed to run a real fast 40, right?
Yeah, but it's too early, man. I feel like it's too early, but if we're having fun, let's have some fun, man.
We're drafted in March, early March,
and
sure. guys, last week Kevin showed me that it's not recency bias, it's recency. Because I'm French and I mess up everything in when it comes to language and names. How do you properly pronounce the young running back's last name? Because I've heard so many different ways.
I've heard. I think it's, from what I understand, it's A-Chain, but I think we should go with who is it? The ship chasing boys are calling him Ashane. Ashane.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's like my Tarjay.
Yeah,
that's Tarjay.
Right, Ashane. Yeah,
like we're going to shop. We're going to go shop at Tarjay, guys.
Right, for sure.
There we go. A-Chain. Harry
Stalder with swinging, dude.
That's all we expect there. That's how you always draft.
Oh, you son of a! I knew.
Let's go.
I should have. Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Anthony Richard off the board in the 12th round.
He was going with the next pick. I should have. If I didn't take McBride, I was going to go with Anthony Richardson. After you took Stroud, I'm like, I'm taking Richardson. I don't care. But then I also love Trey McBride, so I'm like, let me just grab him to be safe. And
so for those listening and not watching, QB 23, Anthony Richard off the board at the beginning of the 12th. Kevin gets sniped by the Shiva.
That's not so. Let's bookmark that because that doesn't happen,
dude. You're that Richardson just got bookmarked by the Moores, the Rondell Moore and Elijah Moore on each side of the Richardson. Look at
that, dude. So here's a question, and shout out to Charlie Mack and AJ Hernandez. Peanut Punch dudes in a lot of these drafts, man. I talk to those guys all the time. And I want to know your guys' what is the love affair with Dante Foreman, man? Like, am I off base here and need to reevaluate, or are you guys? I mean, what are your thoughts?
Like, I think he's a decent back, but
Oh, you go Wheeler.
now you go, Brad.
I mean, he's a free agent. There's been some rumblings that he'll return to Carolina. I did like the efficiency of Chuba Hubbard. But if the Carolina, they've got a new coach, they've got new everything. So if they bring him back, that means they really do want him. Mostly a grinder, could handle a large workload, wasn't super efficient, was almost a 0 out of the pass catching game. So I have him like in that same tier of like Devin Singletary, of Damian Harris, of like guys that can handle the rock, but like is going to be trusted more by an NFL team than in fantasy.
So do you like him better than Kareem Hunt?
I mean, technically in my rankings, but I think Hunt is looking real dusty. Hunt is looking real dusty.
Yeah, he dude, Hunt looked so bad last year, man. It was kind of disheartening to see. For fantasy purposes, I had a lot of Hunt last year.
Me and JD were talking last week about Chuba Hubbard should be going at around where
Foreman.
What do you say? Foreman does, or
JD,
earlier.
Like board.
I like Chuba, dude. If he would have came out a year earlier, I know we're talking nonsense here, but he crushed his draft capital with returning back to school for that last year because he had a really down year and then just hasn't really panned out great for him. But if he would have came out the year when he went off, he would have had a good chance of being featured,
getting that draft capital.
Right now.
Yeah, I feel like Carolina's probably going to go with him as their primary, or at least a split. Like, he should be seeing at least 50% of the touches, right? Unless they draft somebody, but they have other needs, don't they? Like,
JD, can you scroll up the board?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, brother.
Yeah, thanks.
Trying to get ready for my next pick here.
You're good.
Look at this guy. Man, I love it. I love Juwan Johnson.
The double
Juwan Johnson's my other guy. That's a great double tap there, though.
Look, I'm hedging on the New
somebody
Orleans.
confirm, is he a free agent?
No, they're both back.
Yeah, Taysom Hill's definitely back.
Yeah.
I know they just restarted. I love Juwan, dude. He's like what Mo Alley Cox should be. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm big. I like Roschon.
I like that analogy.
Like
what Mo Alley Cox should be.
Every year I was drafting it.
All right, I'm gonna stack CJ Stroud with his wide receiver one, Mr. Alec Pierce. There it goes.
What a bold statement!
I mean, that's Juwan's restricted.
You got to tell a story, right?
I mean,
yeah.
Honestly,
I mean, I like it. That's still a bold call, but it's a bold statement, right?
Listen. I like Pittman. Alec Pierce just looks a little different. He
gotcha.
A bit of a freak athletically, and you could even tell that Matt Ryan really liked targeting him for the little bit of flashes that we saw from the old Matty Ice last year. But you never know when a new quarterback comes in which receiver he's going to gravitate to. And as much as Pittman's been great, that offense hasn't been very efficient, very productive in the past couple of years. So hopefully, with a new quarterback coming in, the right one, these guys can flash, and then who knows who's got the higher ceiling right at this point.
For sure.
So we're in the 13th round, guys. I know I haven't done the best job of reading off all the rounds. That's why you got to tune in and watch the show either live, or you can rewatch the show on YouTube at the GOAT District channel, or you can find us on Spotify and you can watch it on there as well. Just like you watch the Rogan show, guys. You can watch the GOAT District channel. So we're in the 13th round. We've got 20 tight ends off the board. We've got 24 quarterbacks off the board. We've got 62 receivers off the board and 46 running backs. Bradley, what's biggest surprise so far as we get towards the back end of the 13th round?
Oh, biggest surprise.
Or anything that stands out, so far that we haven't talked about. Even if it's with your own roster, like how do you feel about your roster right now? You happy with you're in the one spot, you just double tapped on the tight end. You talk about that a bit.
I consolidated that New Orleans tight end position. They're going to be scoring fantasy points, especially like if you're telling yourself a story about Alvin Kamara missing games, it's going to be Chris Olave and who, right? New Orleans doesn't have a first-round pick this year because of that Olave trade. So they're either going to be drafting, a wide receiver in the second round or later, or they're going to have to sign some old dusty wide receiver from free agency. And these guys know the system. The coach is still back with, in the Saints. And so I think that double tap is just fine. I didn't want to take Antonio Gibson round 11, but I've been getting him more like round 12, round 13. I just like the upside that he offers. Extreme athlete. Yes, he had a down year last year due to injuries, but Brian Robinson was extremely inefficient. And even in the 10 games where Robinson had 15 or more touches, Antonio Gibson was still able to be a flex play for you pretty consistently. So I liked that, especially in a full PPR. J.D. McKissick is expected to miss some time. And one of my favorite things to do is just smashing those wide receivers in rounds, 4 through 9, and just see what kind of weapons can come to me there. So I like that structure. I was kind of ticked. I've been sniped on a few players that I like drafting. Like I was hoping Jared Goff would come back to me. I was hoping that Michael Thomas would be there. I like his upside. He's an extreme value wide receiver. 62? Yeah, I love drafting him at that spot. Like in the wide receiver 50s, wide receiver 60s, I'm happy with Michael Thomas at that spot. It's all about upside at that point. And Michael Thomas, it's the Antonio Brown corollary. You've got these veteran, extreme athlete, extreme producers later in their career, and they can just step on the field and contribute. So, and that's what we saw last year in the limited snaps for Michael Thomas. So we'll see what happens where he lands, because he's probably going to not play for the Saints. But I love Michael Thomas at that spot. So there's a lot which team?
Bradley, let me just read off your team, brother. Todd Burrows. Shout out to Todd Burrows watching The Professional. Little fun fact: first time I ever showed up on a podcast or ever did anything with a podcast was on Todd Burrows' show. Actually, he invited me on. I don't remember what it was. I won something, or I don't remember what it was. This is a very, very long time ago. But shout out to Todd. He Run to Daylight. There you go. He's telling me read out the teams, and he's definitely right. So basically, Bradley from the one spot, JJ at the 1, comes back with 2 running backs: Nick Chubb, Breece Hall, Mike Williams, Justin Herbert stack, Jameson Williams, JSN, Jordan Addison, Rashad Bateman, Trey Lance as his QB2, Antonio Gibson RB3, and then the double tap with the 2 New Orleans tight ends in Johnson and Hill. Sorry, brother, didn't mean to cut you off, but just so people have context to your explanation there.
No, you're all good. Which team is the Amon-Ra St. Brown Tyreek Hill team? Because that is an interesting build. Maybe
so that's
we can
1912. 1912. Shout out to 1912. Big.
Got some.
He was in our listener league last year.
Yeah,
Zay Flowers, Jalen Hyatt. So I like a lot of the rookies that he picked there, and Pitts in round 5. What do y'all think about Pitts in round 5 now?
I would have taken him if he didn't.
I almost took him as a stack there, but Aaron Jones was sitting with the London Pitts stack. But I do like Pitts now. Prefer him to when he was going like top 3 or whatever last year. Harry Snowman saying 1912 been killing it. Shout out to 1912. See, he watches every show, guys. That's why you tune into the GOAT District every week, every day. We've got 3-4 shows going on a week. So guys, make sure you subscribe and you punch the like button if you like what you hear. If you're on a podcast format right now listening, give us the rate and review action. That helps us out a lot. And guys, tune in. We're going to drop these BALLiN lives regularly. We've got Dynasty, Market Check, and we rock a Goat District once a week on Wednesday nights. Just stick with us, guys. We're going to keep bringing the guests, the goodness, and we're going to keep doing these best balls. I'm on the clock right now, I think, with 20-some seconds.
Man, look at Philly.
Woo. First defense off the board.
Ah. He must be.
I don't have. I'm going to go
he took Hurts in the second round, too, so he's got to be an Eagles fan, I would assume, for sure. Not bad.
I went with Zach Ertz here. I don't have any shares of Ertz because I love Trey McBride, but I'm going to hedge. And since I have Kyler Murray and James Conner, hopefully Ertz gets back on the field and gives me something. First kicker off the board. There you go.
All he's got to score is like 30 points next year, and he's going to beat that ADP. So.
Exactly.
You know, where that laser sound from G&E right there?
Wah, 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 wah.
There it is. I like it.
There it is. Too many things, man. Drafting, managing the, producing, getting the cash.
Dude, JD has the value, dude. Aaron Jones, RB17. James Conner, RB26. Gabe Davis, wide receiver 45. He's got Kyler Murray at QB 17. And then Zach Ertz at QB 24. I mean, all those guys could just destroy their ADP for sure.
I'm of the belief that we do not see Zach Ertz come back.
Oh.
I'm of the belief that Zach Ertz is done.
So am I, and that's why I said I've been smashing Trey McBride everywhere. But I like to hedge a bit because when he did play, he was legit.
He was good,
so even
dude.
14th round.
He's like Jason Witten. But
what was his injury? His injury was real, and he's old.
Yeah, it was pretty significant.
Yeah,
and he's old.
It was a mid-season.
Well, dude, he's younger than Kelsey. I know that. I know he's younger than Kelsey. But Kelsey's the unicorn, so
Yeah, we definitely found that out this year. I was hedging against Kelsey a little bit last year, and wow, it was that colossal mistake.
Dude, the 1 week the guy had like 4 catches for 12 yards, and they were all touchdowns.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The guy, he wins every week.
Right.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
It doesn't matter, dude. He's just a monster.
Did you guys all watch yesterday the combine?
I watched a little bit of it. It was on in the background.
And anything stand out or change for you guys just based on what you did see or hear about what happened yesterday? We talked about the quarterbacks, maybe with the receivers, anything change? I know, Bradley, you were posting some 40 times, maybe some slower 40 times than expected.
I think Anthony Richardson's going to the Hall of Fame.
He is. He's already there, dude. He's already there. He's already wearing the yellow jacket.
Bust ready.
Yeah.
You're the one that drafted him, so yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll roll the dice there, man.
I was going to take him. I was mad at you.
Yeah.
Well, can we talk about Kayshon Boutte for a second? Because Kayshon Boutte posted the 9th lowest or shortest vertical that we've seen in recent times, and he also ran a 4.69 40 for his second run, which is extremely slow. Not just like
that's not good.
It's really bad, really bad. And so my concerns are that his agent didn't prepare him well, that his trainers didn't prepare him well, but also like when we look at PFF grades from the last year, he was at like a 65. 65 is like your Joe Schmo, like pathetic. And he was being considered in that pretty consensus. He's going to be a round 2 pick. He was like at best a PFF graded 75 wide receiver in his breakout rookie year. Like I liked Boutte a couple of years ago, but now like we haven't seen the development and there are some red flags. So like, how are we approaching Kayshon Boutte either here in the best ball streets, or we can spin into Dynasty too if you want.
I will now.
0 shares.
I really wanted to go into this year talking about booty everywhere, but that's probably the last time I'll say it. This is probably the last time I'll say it.
For those who know Wheeler, for those who know Wheeler, that's funnier comment than if you don't. You know,
for the win, man. I love it.
I mean, there is a quarterback I'll be taking in the 28th round just to fit my personality if he's still there.
Let me search for But hey, so you brought up a great point about Booty, right? But what makes it sad is like, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but Trey Palmer, who was at LSU for 3 years, had to transfer out due to all the talent over there. You know, I believe he went to Nebraska, dominated that year, but like, it's sad because Palmer crushed, right? Didn't he run like a 4.340? And looked really good. From what I saw, I could be wrong, but it's sad that you know, I guess Booty was well ahead of him on LSU's depth chart to where Palmer had to transfer out. And any tests like that, it's sad.
Yeah, I'm trying
Sad
to look
Booty.
for Palmer.
Sad Booty.
No, he did. I'm not kidding. He was at LSU for 3 years and then had to transfer out. You know, and sometimes it's a bad thing, but it's kind of like the Jerome Ford from last year, or you know, where he was at Alabama and just couldn't get on the field because of Gibbs and Robinson and everybody else that they had. He had to go somewhere else, and then you know, it's kind of the similar thing. So it's hard to know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now, but I think Booty is not good. I think at this point until we see.
So you're staying away, basically. Is what you're
I'm anti Bubba Sparks.
Staying away from that booty.
Yeah, I'm staying away. I'm staying away from the booty.
Anti-booty. All right. So Eric's anti-booty. Bradley's not as much of a booty man as maybe he was before. Sounds like.
Look,
Does Bradley know? Can you talk to me about Trey Palmer, Bradley? Am I off base here?
I don't know much about Trey Palmer. I would have to do a dive deeper into the research on Palmer, but you know,
is he coming out this year? Like,
no, yeah, dude. He just ran a 4.3.
Yeah, he's a fast dude. There was expectation that he would produce. There was some chatter on the Twitter timeline about Trey Palmer being a sleeper wide receiver. So maybe you take sprinkle in a couple shares here and there. But when we get into like day 3 wide receivers, those guys so rarely hit. Even you've got to have an Amon-Ra St. Brown profile to be able to hit. And even then, like when we were talking about prospects of Amon-Ra St. Brown, like he was still a producer. Like he still put up decent metrics. For him to have fallen to day 4 or day 3, the 4th round, was extremely surprising. So the Lions got a good pick there, and I'm on the clock.
The NFL's not always right. So
this is true.
I'm looking at Palmer right now.
So yeah, you're going to see a bunch of zeros, and then
he just did the 40.
Yeah, dude.
I'm looking at the RAS scores from
the RAS. Yep.
Yeah, the RAS, and he only did the 40.
Okay.
All right, he only did the speed. Yeah, he only did the 40. He didn't do any of the agility.
Shout out to 1912. Bradley has like 6 kids. He's more of a booty man than all of us. I love it.
Wow.
Combined.
Let's get that.
Only 4 kids.
1912 wins comment of the day. There we go. We're on the clock here, boys. We're on the clock.
Only 4 kids, but you know, I'm on brand. I'm on brand.
Look at Dwayne McBride. Talk to us here.
Fading kickers too.
Dwayne McBride.
Yeah, so let me pull up because Dwayne McBride hit. Okay, I have the sheet, and I'm pretty sure when JD was JD. I don't know. I thought that you were on the stream with me this week when I pulled out this card. Let me put it in front of the camera.
Yes, I remember that.
Dwayne McBride, no matter what.
Yeah.
He is my guy. He is my guy this year. Dude was an absolute beast. And the only knock against him the last year was the fumbling. Everything else, his yards created, yards after contact, his PFF rushing grade, dude was an absolute machine, and it's a shame we're not going to be able to see him at the combine. But he is a first and second round guy or first and second down running back that could handle major workload. We're talking like a Damian Harris type of player. And he's just so quick. He can make moves, and he's a power back. So I love getting Dwayne McBride here, round 17 and beyond, and screw kickers.
Dude, I'll tell you this. I'm not a scout guy. I kind of just read what I read and see what I see, and then obviously I do my own research and utilize some databases. Yeah. But from everything that I've seen, that dude ranks like top 4, top 3 in like every single college statistic. You know what I mean? As far as like rushing yards created, yards at the contact, blah blah. You know what I mean? He was 4th behind Zach Charbonnet, Bijan Robinson, Blake Corum last year in PFF rushing grade. Yeah, I mean that's pretty good.
So we've got 18. Just to context again for those listening, 18 kickers now off the board in the last 4 rounds. They've been getting picked off pretty frequently. We've only got 3 defenses off the board, and then we've got a couple of receivers sprinkled into those rounds, and about 3 or 4 receivers and 3 or 4 running backs sprinkled in there.
JD, if Dan is watching from St. Martin, shout
out to Dan.
5-course meal. He's loving these kickers right now, man. This is making his day.
It's what it is, Eric. This time of year, there's more questions. It's kind of like for me with running backs, like there's more questions with who's going to end up where. So I like to get more sure things, guys that are probably going to be back. Like I've got the Cincinnati and the Jacksonville kicker. I feel pretty comfortable with those guys. Whereas if you wait too long, you might get a guy that might not even have a job in September.
Absolutely. No, I'm with you on that.
So Famous Jay's asking back to the draft because maybe he doesn't like the entertainment part of the show, but that's all right, man. That's all right. Not everybody's into it. But he's saying what's
like turned off by the booty.
Maybe we'll go around and answer this question as we I'll start with Bradley just because we're on the Wheeler Shiva end of the draft. But what's like a recommended roster build for QBs, running backs? He's asking.
Yeah, so looking at what won the BBM 3 season-long tournament last year, the winning team had Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts, and those players went off in round 6 and round 7. He went back-to-back. And I had made a video earlier the offseason, which one should you pick, Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow? And the correct answer was both. So one of the things that you need to consider is maybe in these in a larger tournament setting, what is something that's a little contrarian? There aren't going to be a lot of teams who are going to have 2 elite quarterbacks. So sprinkling that in as a consideration, because, if you think, I've got Mahomes, I'm set, that's going to be an attitude that you and many other drafters are going to have, because you're going to say, well, I'm going to have Mahomes for the majority of my games. But if you go Mahomes and some other quarterback late, like a Ryan Tannehill just went off, or you go like Mahomes and Tannehill and then maybe like the Sam Howells, you're essentially drafting Patrick Mahomes naked at that point, because the expectation is for Tannehill and Howell can't access elite upside in the way that Mahomes can. And even if they could, they're not. When are they going to do it? Are they going to do it on the weeks where Mahomes isn't going to be his best? That's a hard probability to bet on. Instead, drafting 2 quarterbacks in like round 6, round 7, round 8. Oh no, I just died.
What do you mean?
You're still alive.
Yeah, as far as I know, you're breathing. Do you need us?
Oh yeah, he's frozen.
He might be frozen.
All right.
He's frozen.
So, JD, I will say, to piggyback off of him, and yeah, I talk to myself about this all the time. The problem when you start posting these drafts on Twitter, right, and you start DMing people like, oh, look at this draft, everybody has that tournament mindset, right, where we want the upside, we want the ceiling, we don't want old guys, we want young guys, we want that sexiness of the roster. In my opinion, there is a significant difference between a 12-man best ball versus a tournament that has 1,000 teams or 10,000 teams or 1,500 teams.
Yeah.
And I feel like, roster construction really matters, man. Like, you don't need to throw as many shots in a 12-man league because, like Wheeler said, he's looking to take first or second. So if you're trying to do that, all you need to be is 10 other teams. Versus a tournament, it's like I don't want to beat 10 other teams. I got to beat 1,000. And I feel like there's you got to be able. It's almost like best ball in Dynasty. You got to be able to separate regular best ball from a best ball tournament. And I'm curious to know what you guys think of that.
I agree to a point. I shoot for the moon quite often though, but yeah, in a tournament, I'm definitely looking at all upside, right? Like I really don't care about floor in a tournament. In this, I certainly am looking at some floor and
absolutely,
maybe like I don't mind reaching for a stack in a contained draft. Like Gallup was probably taken early, but I wanted to stack Dak with something. So
yeah, and
whatever.
That might hit 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Right.
You never know, and quite frankly, that's all you need
in a tournament. Though, like I would be going for greater upside. I wouldn't. I'd be holding off. Like I would probably get Gallup. I probably just would have waited because Gallup is going quite late.
I agree.
I didn't think the kicker run was going to quite like I was getting kicker no matter what. Like I almost took a kicker when I took Gallup. And I was gonna double tap kicker coming back, but I didn't expect it to kind of rush like that. I could have gone in a different direction with Gallup and I just passed up on Claypool. I probably could have.
I like
gotten
Claypool.
I like Claypool where he's going for sure.
I've been getting him, man. I mean, they traded for him, pretty significant pick. I think it was their 3rd round pick. Look, last year he came in
like
first,
second, like the third.
I think it's a late first they gave up for him.
Yeah,
I think it was somebody else's pick. I think it was maybe it was an early second, but like
who was this Claypool?
Yeah.
They gave up the 201.
Well, there you go. They gave up enough anyways. And you got to think that, again, I talked about earlier, the rapport between the quarterback and the receiver. You got to think that they bring back, I still believe that Fields is the best option for Chicago right now. And again, I think that rapport will just hopefully spark and build out there in Chicago. And Claypool could be. He's especially like a big, red zone target as we saw in Pittsburgh. I'm gonna keep my stack going in Indy. I'm gonna take Jelani Woods as my tight end 3.
Yep.
I just saw the comment about how I died. Yes, and I was bootied from the stream.
You were totally bootied from the stream.
My camera died. I got a new camera this week, and I need to get the battery pack switched out. So I guess my limit is 68 minutes because it couldn't be 69.
You can get so I don't know what kind of camera you have, but I ended up getting like a plug-in battery. It's like a battery thing that goes in your battery slot, and then you actually plug it electrically, and then you don't have to switch it out and charge it.
That's good. That's so nice. Yeah, after the show, send me a we'll chat. For sure. So you know what? Let's start reading off our teams, guys. I'll start. We read Bradley's. I'm going to read mine here. Jalen Warren just went off, guys.
Trust me, he's been in my queue for about 3-4 rounds now, but I've got my running back, so I love him. He might be one of my favorite running backs in this range. Even Penny, man, in this range. I mean, we've seen Penny. I know he's hurt. I know Eric was on. Were you on Penny or off Penny? Oh my
God, dude, he was my favorite player in NFL history.
That's right. I knew there was some relation
my
there.
Soul for 5 straight years, and there's only so much I could take, dude. The 6 years where I draw the line. After 6, I'm done, dude.
Sounds about right.
But yeah, no, Penny, man, I was so happy for him last year, dude. When he had that, what was it, that 4 or 5 week run, dude, where he just went absolutely bonkers. It was fun to see, but he's crushed me for 5 years, man. I can't. Oh, I'm having nightmares.
All right, well, let's get the attention away from Eric's nightmare. I'm going to read off my team. We read off Bradley's, and then after you guys make your picks coming up here, you guys can read yours. I've got Kyler or actually, I'll read it. I can't really read it from the board because then I'll be moving the board on the screen. So I'll just read off my roster. I'm in the 3 spot. Started off with Kelsey. I've got Kyler Murray, CJ Stroud as my quarterbacks, Aaron Jones, Pacheco. You know what? This is not making sense. I'm going to move this screen around just to read the order that I got these.
Go for it.
Hey, man, if you're into best ball, you want to know what order these guys are taking, right? So I'm in the 3 spot. I went Travis Kelce, Devontae Smith, T. Higgins, Drake London, Aaron Jones, Pacheco, Connor, and Herbert as my 4 running backs. Round 9, Gabe Davis. Came back with Kyler Murray and CJ Stroud, double tap at the QB at 10 and 11. TJ Spears as my RB5, the RB44. Alec Pierce to stack with my CJ Stroud. Ertz as my tight end 2. Then my 3 kickers, McPherson, Patterson, and Greg Joseph. And then added Sky Moore for my Pacheco Kelsey stack. And then Woods to my CJ Stroud, Alec Pierce stack, because we are always be stacking here in the district, as you guys know. There you go. I'll replace that board.
JD, I'm gonna take our biggest value that I feel like you and I had agreed up on in the draft.
No, that's your boy. That's your boy, right?
I think Curtis Samuel, dude. He has not.
Damn.
Bradley and I talked about him when I was on.
He has not finished worse than wide receiver 48.
Yeah, he's such a value,
2021, man. And that's only when he played 5 games. And now he's
been sitting next to my queue since I picked.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
Howell.
Crazy.
I was just gonna stack Howell with him.
Hey, that's a good.
I so should have done it before. Like I'm thinking, he'll make the turn. No big deal. He's not even on the screen right now. Good pick.
Dude. I wanted Tannehill with even though I had 2 quarterbacks, I wanted Tannehill as my third with Burks and Chicago, but I got sniped a couple rounds ago. But that happened.
I love Curtis Samuel. Oh,
so Eric, why don't you? Did you? Oh no, you got another pick coming. Why don't you make your pick?
Yeah, I just picked. I'm being aggressive here on defense. I'm trying to put pressure on the rest of the room. So we'll see how that works.
Read off your team, brother, from the first round down.
Absolutely. So round 1, I was pick 11. I went with CeeDee Lamb and came back with Garrett Wilson. Then had Tony Pollard, and we definitely took a swing here at Jahmyr Gibbs as my RB2 in round 4. We got Keenan Allen in round 5 as the wide receiver 25 off the board, which I think when we talk about Mike Evans being a value, I think Keenan Allen needs to be right in that conversation. We got Trevor Lawrence in round 6 as a QB8, and then we came back with Treylon Burks, A.J. Dillon. And being tight end premium, I didn't want to completely miss the ship, so we went with Greg Dulcich and Chig Okonkwo. We came back in round 11 with a little bit of a swing with Devin. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I'll leave
Achane.
Achane, I like it in French. Big fan of that. Then we came back with the Hall of Famer, Anthony Richardson in round 12. OBJ. Then we came with Leonard Fournette. Then we kind of started a little bit of a kicker run here, got in the middle of it with Matt Gay and Nick Folk. We got New England and the Jets D. Big fan of New England. You can never go wrong with Bill Belichick calling the shots over there. Curtis Samuel at wide receiver 74 in round 19. And then we took a top 12 defense or defense number 12 off the board in the Jags, who if you did play in FFPC or redraft leagues, the last 4 weeks of the season, the Jags defense played really, really good. And that was even against Dallas, who was still fighting for a playoff spot and a couple other really good teams. So they could be on the up and up. It's probably a little too early to take your third defense, but I noticed our buddy.
No, I was taking him there. I had him lined up there.
So let's put some heat on and make him start drafting some blue. Let's go.
Yeah, there it is. Either way, I was going defense here.
Yeah,
I'm a you know how I draft, Eric. I like to get my 3 kickers and my 3 defenses in these 28 rounders, nice and tight. And then I might throw in like a Jelani Woods or a Sky Moore in there, but that's usually how I do it in the specialty spots. And I'll tell you, last year we talked about it coming into the show how we all did in best balls, and it paid off for me last year with that build of deeper ones.
So you got Woods at what? Tight end 31. Where are we at here? So he finished last year, dude. He finished last year in PPR as tight end 34. And that's not tight end premium. That's just straight PPR. So probably a little bit higher in tight end premium.
Yeah, and look at that offense.
31.
Look at that offense. Look at his quarterback.
Dude, he could like just produce like 2 more games and he'd be like tight end 17 or something like that. You know what I mean? So that's pretty good, man. Sky Moore at wide receiver. Hey, we got Blue for team 1. I like it. All right, we got him on board. Big fan.
All right,
I'll go over my team while you're picking there, JD. I took Devontae Adams in the first, came back with Derrick Henry in the second. Then I went with Debo in the late third. I seem to be always drafting Debo. He seems to be falling to the late third or even fourth round, and I can't not draft him.
He had like a 13 point fantasy point per game average, I think, last year, just off the top of my head. So I think that's kind of scaring people when they go back and look at it. And then you talk about CMC coming in, taking targets. So do you have any concern with him? Maybe talk about that a bit.
Yes, CMC caps his upside a bit, but like he's still going to have those peak weeks and down weeks. Like the weeks he actually scores 13 points in a game, like, are probably less than the weeks where he goes 26 or 0. Like, yeah, I get he's going to average, but he's going to have some peak weeks in there. And he does get hurt, so big deal. Like I got plenty of other people to stack in that lineup. My pick is coming up. Then fourth round, I came back with DJ Moore. Then I went with 2 running backs that I think are falling to a value. J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, both kind of coming off injuries, but looked good at the end of last year. Then I went Dak. I feel as though he's one of that second-tier quarterbacks that are still lingering in a value spot. Yeah, I took him late 7 here. I've been trying to wait until the 8th, but I really didn't think he was going to come back. I got Deontay Johnson in the 8th. I think he's a screaming value this year. He had no touchdowns last year. That's bound to regress positively. And then Kenneth Gainwell might be a little bit of a reach, but
you're on the clock.
Yeah, I was guessing he wasn't going to make the turn because Shivas likes him too. Oh, are we seeing a lot of defenses go here? Yeah, we are.
Shiva's very vocal about the guys he likes. So if you know Shiva, you know which guys he's targeting.
I don't keep it a secret.
Good for you.
That's why we love you, man.
Let it out.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, I gotta.
Which means stay away from these guys.
I gotta get.
You want to win? Don't draft like me.
I gotta get at least one defense on this turn.
There you go.
Yeah, Minnesota. That's a nice one. I think they'll bounce back a little bit.
I think they're due for a bounce back too. I was on them last year and very disappointed by their lack of performance. So at this late, they're worth.
They got a new defensive coordinator, didn't they?
Sounds good to me. I believe you're right. I wasn't thinking that going in, but yeah.
I'm going to stay the course here and make Dan Williamson proud. We're going 3 kickers here. So
Dan lounging on the beach in St. Martin right now. He'll be back soon, but he's enjoying a nice vacay with the missus right now. So shout out to him.
Eating whatever kind of food he's eating. I don't know who's cooking it. He's cooking it. He's buying it. I don't know, but
no, dude, he's on vacay, bro. He's on vacay.
He ain't cooking on vacay.
He's kicking shit.
That guy, dude, he's eating top notch, man. I got to
Harry Snowman. The loose ships sinks, or what is it? Loose lips sink ships. I'll say this, like I'm kind of like Shiva. Like I don't mind saying who I like because I'll just take someone else. You just switch up your rosters, man. I don't really care if guys try to snipe me or anything. It's not like I'm going to get upset. It just gives me the opportunity to get maybe someone else that I don't have as much shares of, or build the team different. But I'm not one to cry over a snipe or anything.
I don't know.
Anytime Shiva brings up,
I don't like that pick. It was more of a roster construction pick with Will Levis going as my and I'm wearing a Levi shirt. So
there you go. There you go. Shout out to Levi's.
Yeah, come on,
sponsor.
Sponsorship, baby.
That's how it autocorrects in my phone, you know.
Yes, it does. It does.
For sure.
I'm a little bit torn here. I like this guy. I hope he's coming back this year.
Oh yeah. And let's hope for him. He went through.
Yeah.
I've been taking him quite a bit. I think I took him actually when I was on with Bradley. He's a nice late round receiver that people forget about, right? Because of the health issue last year. And you got to think that Houston offense, I talk about, new quarterbacks coming in and us not knowing who the favorite target's going to be.
And Brandon Cook's potentially getting traded as well. So.
There you go. Right, the veteran gets traded, so even more opportunity there for the young guys to flash, and who knows who's going to get Bryce Young's attention is what I'm hoping.
Right. Yeah, he should have a fresh new quarterback, and even if Cook sticks around, which I kind of doubt, like I would assume that would help Mechie a little bit, take away press coverage a little bit.
In the chat right now, why don't you let us know what team you like best, what team you so far from what you guys have seen. I'll try to scroll back up as we pick here and let you guys take a look, but maybe let us know what you like, don't like picks. You guys have been awesome in the chat, by the way, so we appreciate you guys hanging out with us on a Sunday afternoon. NFL Combine weekend. Oh, look at that. We're on the clock, so I'm going to bring it back.
Can somebody look up what Roshan – did Roshan do something today?
There we go.
Oh, I tried looking at that earlier, but
we're all tilted over that 11th round pick.
I mean, this is the range. Well, late teens is where I'd be looking for him, but yeah, I think we all had our eyes on him anyway.
Oh, you know why? The Eagles show interest in running back Roshan Johnson. There we go.
There you go.
And
well, there goes Gainwell.
Roshan reveals the team that he wants. He believes fits the Eagles the best. So here we go, mutual relationship here. So, man, dude, I love Roshan. Dude, that guy is a monster. And I don't know what he ran today, but from what I saw, there were some people that were projecting him in the very, very low fourth fours. And he's like 220 pounds. That's Jonathan Taylor type speed with his size. I don't know what he ran today. I'm curious. I don't think he ran yet because I can't find it. But
did you guys see I took a rookie kicker?
Oh, look at you! Rookie? Did you really?
Look at you! Look at that's why you follow. That's why you follow Bradley Stalder at over there at Best Bell Fantasy. I mean, look at that rookie kicker in a 28 round.
Do you remember Jose
Can you see?
2 years ago, he's a rookie kicker. He's supposed to be like the best rookie kicker coming out in a long time. Jose Barragos, he went to Tampa Bay.
The Tampa Bay kicker. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was stuck terrible behind Ryan Suckup. Oh man, that sucked. I had a lot of.
So I really want to snipe. I really want to snipe Shiva here. I really want to snipe Shiva, but I'm going to take one of my. Just because of the show and it's Combine weekend, and I'm going to take one of my favorite rookie prospects here, Rashee Rice.
Oh, there you go.
In the 23rd round. I mean, this guy, 200 pounds, 6 feet, gave us over 1,300 yards, 96 receptions, 157 targets, and 10 touchdowns at SMU. I really like what this kid's got to offer. It'll be interesting to see where he goes in the draft, but this late, I like picking up these rookie receivers with upside.
That was my debate, either Rice or Mechie were the ones I was picking.
We think
I went with Mechie.
There you go.
Yeah, we tend to.
Yeah, you are big on that G Rice. Oh, baby.
All right. There's a guy I really want.
Yes, I do like Rice.
Oh God, we're getting tight.
Just don't bring up Dan Williamson again. Every time I hear his name, I'm like, I'm gonna get sniped. I'm gonna get sniped. Start to twitch. Like,
Dan's
he snipes me like crazy.
Long Island on the beach, just chilling, dude.
Allen Robinson goes off. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't like that pick. Maybe I'm wrong, but not a fan.
I mean, you probably right, but in the 23rd round, like,
What do you got to lose?
is he? Yeah, like I don't think it's like same with Thielen in the 23rd round. Like,
Right. Yeah.
All you're going for is a couple touchdown upside games. That's it.
Yep.
right,
Absolutely.
right, and you know they could very well have 4 or 5 games where all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. I mean, I don't think they're going to last. Either one of them is going to last the whole season, but being relevant anyway.
Another boy, 1912 here. What's he looking at?
Famous Jay
We're in
has a
the-
question.
We're in the 23rd round right now in the draft. For those listening, again, if you're listening to the show, make sure you check us out on YouTube and Spotify to get the visuals. Famous Jay asking, does draft capital matter when considering your rookies? I'll answer real quick and then I'll pass to someone. I think for sure it matters. I don't think draft capital never matters. I think that you're kind of guessing, right? At this point with these rookies in these drafts prior to the draft, you're hoping to basically draft a guy whose value is going to skyrocket. You know, that's basically what you're looking for in these late rounds, is a guy who's going to smash something at the combine, smash in the draft, get an amazing landing spot, and then really give you, or smash during the season even, and then give you kind of that added value that, you know, where he's going to produce above his ADP. And that's really what you're hoping for. You're picking off these rookies that you think are going to increase in value. Am I right there, guys? Or is there another factor where draft capital plays for you? Obviously, right, Eric, you want these guys to end up with good draft capital.
So for me, and I have this debate with Peanut Punch, who's in a lot of these drafts. I have this debate with them every day. For me, it depends on the format. So, like, to me, draft capital matters a lot in Dynasty, right? Because the earlier you're drafted, the more value you hold. You could have a bad year and still maintain value, that sort of thing. In best ball, I don't really care if you're drafted in round 1 or you're drafted in round 7. I'm looking at who has the best opportunity to produce for 17 games. You get drafted in round 2 and you're buried on the depth chart, and there's a guy drafted in round 4 who's got a clear path to opportunity. Like, I have no problems in a best ball league, non-tournament, taking that guy in round 4, because if I believe he's got more of a chance to make an opportunity or take advantage of an opportunity this year for 17 games. I don't care what happens next year or 2 years or 3 years down the road. I'm looking at, I got 17 games. Who can give me the most points in 17 games? So I think draft capital, it's like a blanket statement, right? Like, to me, it depends on the format. Dynasty, yes. Best ball, for me personally, I don't care about it whatsoever.
But in a tournament, best ball tournament, let's say you do get that guy, you know, let's say like Rashee Rice, for example, just to give you an example, 23rd round right now, and he lands in I don't know, where's he going to land that just shoots his stock up? Give me a team.
Oh,
Minnesota.
So he goes to Minnesota. Okay, he's opposite JJ. So from that point on, whenever people are drafting in that same tournament, I'm on the clock here. When people are drafting in that same tournament, you just got them at a better value, right? So it gives you an edge over anyone else kind of when you get to the end of the tournament. If Rashee Rice is one of those winning pieces for that tournament, you now have an advantage over guys that are taking him anywhere higher than the 23rd round. So that's where I think
So here's a hypothetical. Like, let's say Rashee Rice goes in the 3rd round to Cincinnati, but you get a guy like who's the other one of these other rookies I'm looking for that just got drafted. But let's say, so like Rashee Rice goes in the 2nd round to Cincinnati, and you get a guy like oh God, I don't know. Let's just say Xavier Hutchinson or somebody like that goes in round 3 to like Houston, where like he potentially has a clear cut to be like the alpha, where Rashee Rice, if he went to Cincinnati in round 2, we know he's stuck behind Chase, he's stuck behind Higgins, he's stuck behind Boyd. Like, he would need injuries to produce. You know what I mean? Or am I like living on another planet here?
No, you're on this planet for once.
All right.
Not fired.
For once, it's strong. I
Right,
known shit
all right.
for a while.
The
I've
longer
known
we go,
Eric
the
for a
better
while.
I get.
But
Let's go.
you're no, I like the way you're thinking with that too. I've always thought the same way. JD was just talking about, like, we're really drafting them now in hopes that their landing spot or their draft capital hits just right, and it's a combination of the two, right?
For sure.
Like, you know, and we're in the round. You know, we're post round 20 right now. It's like you were literally just grabbing
darts.
rookies, or like even with my Mechie and Pierre Strong, they're not rookies, but in all intensive purposes, yeah, they are. Like they didn't get any run last year.
That same upside.
Right, exactly. So that right now we're looking for opportunity in year one, or this year in particular.
Right.
So who's going to come out of the blue and produce that for us? Is it going to be old ass Adam Thielen and Allen Robinson? Probably. I would rather take that gamble on somebody that hasn't done it yet. I have plenty of guys that have done it in the first, 10 rounds.
It's that unknown factor.
Yeah. So let's go with I would rather go with the young unknown than the old and decrepit. Allen Robinson and Adam Thielen, their value isn't going to increase at all.
That's exactly it.
Whereas Mechie and Strong,
like Mechie and Strong, like we know no matter what happens, like they're on a team.
Sorry guys, something happened here.
Right.
So like that helps a lot. Dude. Like we're not risking an undrafted guy here. Like they're on a team. They got a chance, and I think that's kind of what you're looking for, in my opinion. I mean, that's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I think draft capital is an indicator.
Hasty.
Of the leash teams are willing to give their rookies, because if you're drafting them first round, second round, your third round, they're investing pretty significant draft capital. There's sponsorship behind those picks. So when you're getting into round 4 and beyond, the draft capital, they've just picked 120 other players that they think that the NFL thinks is better. And maybe there's opportunity for these talented players to land, but if they were better, they probably would have been drafted earlier. Like that's just the philosophy behind like thinking through this draft capital logic of teams want to pick the best players. And if those players are getting drafted in the 120s plus, look, they're just picking their guys at that point. And maybe there is more opportunity for like we should have been more in on Tyler Algier last year. Like if you weren't in on him, it was because you were afraid of the draft capital. But the opportunity was really, really nice there. And all he was competing against was Cordero Patterson. Whereas compare him to Isaiah Spiller. And Spiller was being drafted early day 3, but he was stuck behind Austin Eckler. And Josh Kelly was good enough to beat out Isaiah Spiller. So like there's just more risk for those players to not hit if they're not day 1 or day 2 players. And that's how like teams are not willing to give up so quickly on those day 1, day 2 as well. So even if they have bad practices or bad days, like they're willing to put them out. So that's kind of my thought behind draft capital versus opportunity.
Yeah, I like that, Bradley.
Yeah, I do too.
And guys, you don't like. I always bring this up. I brought it up a couple times just because it's an example, a recent example. But you don't have to smash all your like last 5 rounds, all those picks. I the hard way best ball last year. Todd's still in the chat. Plug your ears because he doesn't like when I talk about me winning the hard way last year. But if you look at my last picks were Juwan Jennings, Smith Marchette. Kenny Pickett helped me because I had Zach Wilson as my QB2. But was Chris Evans, Trey Sermon, Terrace Marshalls, these guys did not hit at all, right? Jameson Williams in the 22nd gave me 1 week at the end of the year, maybe. But I didn't smash on any of those guys, and I still won this league. So if if you build that roster and you smash early in the top 15 rounds, let's say with your starters, you really want 1 or 2 guys out of the. So that's why you want to aim high and go for that high upside. You're not looking for floor at the back end of the draft in these 28 rounders.
But JD, on the flip side of that, man, like I feel like that, to play devil's advocate here, is like some of these picks, a lot of these picks are going to be zeros for a lot of guys, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly it.
If you can get a guy that gives you 4 weeks just throughout the random year where he gets you 15, 18, and you're able to get 2 or 3 of these guys after round 20, and the rest of your team is solid, I mean, that's enough to run away with the league. And I feel like sometimes, not all the time, but especially in the non-tournaments, you know, that's why you see some of these guys that have one bad year that are a little bit older, they get pushed all the way down. And some of that is having tournament brain, in my opinion. We're like, okay, we know what this guy is. We don't want this. We want to shoot for that unknown. But sometimes, you know, there's incredible value, you know, late in these drafts with proven producers that, you know, we just don't want because they don't have that unknown factor. I kind of feel like, you know what I mean? And
it could also, it's also just as I'm just thinking, it's also roster dependent, right? Let's face it. If you took huge swings early, maybe you do want that floor later. So talking out of both sides of my mouth, it definitely, it's always dependent on roster build, right?
Oh, I agree 100%.
So we're in the 27th round here. I just took Albert O as the tight end 38 off the board. I mean, I just, when he's on the field, man, he's just a beast. And again, we've got a new coaching staff coming in. Who knows who the real tight end ends up being? Maybe they use both tight ends, but we've seen Peyton, you know, highlight tight ends with Jimmy G, and hopefully the tight ends in Denver will benefit, and hopefully Albert O can get on the field and give me a few weeks there. And I'm going to take, I don't usually like, you know, handcuffing necessarily, but I like stacking receivers on the same team. So I've got Gabe Davis. I'm going to take Isaiah McKenzie. I don't know that he comes back, but I think there's a good chance they do sign him back. He was pretty significant in that offense last year for the price. I believe that they would have to keep him, whether he's on contract or not. I think that he could very possibly still be a good target there for Josh Allen.
We're talking about wide receiver 98, in case anybody's not seeing the board here. 98 wide receivers have been off the board here. You can't go wrong, Jenny, targeting Buffalo.
Yeah, and that Albert O pick was delightful.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That Albert O pick.
I've been all over Dolchich, but I've been hedging my bet because JD and Dan and Theo had a guy on. I can't remember his name, and I apologize about that. But he was talking about, like, if you're all in on a certain player and there's another player at his position, like,
you have to
kind of hedge your bet just a little bit. Don't go all in on it. So yeah, Pat. So the millionaire, the guy that won the big underdog tournament, I believe. Good for him. Congrats. But yeah, what he had said, it made a lot of sense. So I'm like, well, if I'm all in on Dolchich, I gotta sprinkle in a little Albert O just in case. You know what I mean? I thought it was a great pick.
Yeah, I was debating Albert O or David Bell my last turn.
Yeah, I don't always take a fourth tight end, but if the right guy is falling, like Albert O there, I don't mind it, because in this format, the tight end can slide into that flex spot as well, right? The tight end.
Yeah, I was kind of banking on nobody grabbing that fourth tight end.
And I think for team one here, Bradley took Luke Musgrave. That makes me feel good because I took him a little bit like a couple, maybe a week ago in a high stakes league. And I was nervous about it, but to see him draft him, I'm kind of all in now. So I like it.
Famous Jay saying this is the best. He's got a lot of lit emojis there. Best roster build discussion on YouTube. We appreciate Famous Jay and all you guys today in the chat. Make sure you smash the like and give us those rate and reviews if you're listening. We appreciate the support. We're going to keep bringing these on a weekly basis. So make sure you subscribe amongst all our other goatness that we bring you guys to help you win your fantasy leagues for 2023 and beyond.
Shiva, did you catch Musgrave's RAS?
No, but I knew it was. I saw it was pretty high, and I think they said he leapfrogged. Was it Michael Meyer?
Musgrave at 9.95 out of 10 RAS.
Wow.
Meyer had like the 15th best
Yeah,
That's
Mayor,
impressive.
Yeah,
Notre Dame,
that other what was his name? Tight end Washington
no, Washington. Yeah,
got a
Yeah,
10.0.
dude,
Darnell Washington.
that's that
There were
guy,
so
man.
many tight
Oh
ends
my
that
God, dude. That was sick, dude.
Yeah, I agree.
The-
Agree with Snowman. With
the
Dortch.
Raz scores.
I should have grabbed them actually to stack him with my Kyler. Is he back for sure, or I think
he's a restricted free agent. I think
he'll probably be back, right?
Oh, I should check that.
it's look. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals actually look to trade Rondell Moore, because if Greg Dortch is a lot cheaper and he does the same thing,
I don't actually hate that. I don't hate that at all, because Rondell Moore is like the guy that we've been waiting on for, he's either injured or just not living up to expectation. So
Wheeler, did you auto?
Yeah, I
Logan
autoed
Thomas?
that. But I was looking, is he going to play? Like, is he still on Washington's roster? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did actually recently hear that he is. So should be. I mean,
All right,
who,
the only reason.
With the enemy there, maybe rejuvenation, right? Who knows?
Logan
Well,
Thomas. Okay, so his contract, he's signed through 2024.
Sure.
He has a $3.5 million dead cap. He's an 8.6 cap hit for this year, so he could get cut.
Right.
He's a cut candidate.
Yeah, he is. My last two picks, I'm just stacking Sam Howell.
Yeah, with De'Ami Brown.
De'Ami Brown was his.
Yeah.
De'Ami Brown was his boy in college, right?
Let's go.
Yeah, and there's been rumors of them cutting. I don't know why they would, but there's rumors of them. It's Twitter rumors, but cutting Curtis Samuel, and he could fill into that, that kind of hybrid RB or wide receiver 3 role too.
Right. I don't know.
De'Ami Brown was one of only 30 wide receivers last year to put up a top 5 week.
All right, I'm feeling good about my last 2 rounds.
Yeah, man, Logan Thomas too. Yeah.
I mean, it's just stacking, right? Always be stacking. So why not?
This is definitely the part of the draft.
2 years ago, Logan Thomas was going like around 5 or 6 in FFPC.
Yeah. I mean, the guy, he balled that one season, but this is the time of the draft. I was going to say where we're all on spot track, like looking at people's contracts, right?
That's exactly
I have it open right here.
That's why I timed out.
I just did that. I took Tim Patrick, who I think if Sutton is out of Denver, I like Tim Patrick, a big receiver out there for Russell Wilson in his comeback season. But I'm gonna come back and pair him with KJ Hamler just in case, right? Because it's this late. If these guys together can give me like a wide receiver 3, I'll smash that all day to finish off the draft.
For sure.
What do you guys think of Calvin Austin, dude? I almost took him instead of Trey Palmer.
I love the Calvin Austin pick.
Yeah, I do too, dude. I like Calvin Austin a lot. Man.
I like him too. I need to get him higher on my list. Yeah. I should have had him in the queue. That would have been another stack I could have done with Pickett.
Wide receiver 106, man. I mean, good God, dude. I mean, he doesn't have to do much to outproduce that, And he gives you 3 weeks of 15. I mean, he's crushing it.
Why don't we? Because we read off our teams, Bradley.
Yeah,
why don't you? Our last 2 rounds, all league winners.
Well, why don't we? Maybe we talk through the kickers and the defenses. Maybe start from like round 22 or 23. Or maybe round 23, and then just read off the rest of your roster from there. We'll post the board, the draft board on Twitter. I'll post that on there at Goat District so you guys can all see it. Make sure, like I said, you guys check us out on YouTube and Spotify and drop the comments, man. Famous Jay, very generous with his comments. I know he'll come in after the shows and drop us some comments on YouTube. Those are really well received, and we're going to start reading them actually on air. So drop them in the comments. We really appreciate them. Bradley, why don't you start off by reading your later rounds, your last 5 or 6 rounds here?
Yeah, can you scroll up a little bit because I'm looking at the screen here. There we go.
There it is, brother.
So perfect. Thank you. So I went kickers and defense from rounds 18 through 23. So round 24 took Eric Gray, running back out of Oklahoma. 6.5 yards per carry, 3.43 yards after contact per attempt, 92 rushing grade at Oklahoma, and he can catch as well. So I like that pick. I wonder where he's going to land. Luke Musgrave, we talked about him being an athletic freak.
League
Devontae
winner.
Parker, the league winner.
Yes.
Devontae Parker, always like he's the forgotten like wide receiver 2 on whatever team he's on. And I love just taking late shots on Devontae Parker. He's going to be a flex play for you like 25% of the time. And it's not sexy, it's dusty, it's old, but he's going to be relevant for me and for whoever drafts him. And then Laviska Shenault is straight upside. That Carolina wide receiver 2 position, frankly, is wide open, and we liked the upside we saw from him there. And then Jonnu Smith is a cut candidate. Once again, tight end athleticism. And I think it works well with my Jawan Johnson, Taysom Hill, Luke Musgrave, Jonnu Smith picks. Like, I don't have any elite tight ends, so I wanted to get 4 in here in this 28 round draft.
Nice. I like it. I from the 3 spot from round 23, I took Rashee Rice. So again, taking shots at those rookie receivers. Tim Patrick, I like the possibility of him becoming more significant in that Denver offense with year 2 with Russ the Cook. Cedric Tillman, another rookie that I like taking shots late here. Albert O, again, tight end 4. I talked about it. I'm usually going 3 tight ends, especially taking Travis early. But I love the value of Albert O here. And again, got a little Denver stack late in the draft. I like stacking teams late in the draft. You can usually do that with some of these depth pieces. And then Isaiah McKenzie, another stack with Gabe Davis that I took earlier, and KJ Hamler to finish it off, pairing him up with Tim Patrick. Hopefully, whether they hit together or one of these guys smash, I think that can be some good late round value. Shiva, how about you from round 23 on?
Yeah, man. Well, first off, I'm going to go back to round 22. We took Will Levi's as our 3rd quarterback. But, anyways, round 23, we took Van Jefferson, who, we always talk about. I know JD and I have talked about Curtis Samuel as we believe one of the bigger values in fantasy. I mean, Van Jefferson is 1 year removed from a top 36 overall in terms of wide receiver season. And, last year he kind of had the knee surgery right before the season started. And then by the time he got back, the whole team was just kind of derailed. So, and I think there's a legitimate chance that he is the wide receiver 2 in that offense this year. And I think with Sean McVay, even if, their offense is nowhere near as good, I think there's a lot of room for improvement off of a wide receiver over wide receiver 83 where he's being drafted. We came back with Tyler Conklin, tight end premium again. Gave us multiple tight end 1 weeks. Their offense their quarterback should improve a little bit. That might help him. We took old man, as Bradley took Devontae Parker. I kind of took old man Robert Woods around 25. I think there's a chance he maybe ends up back in with the Rams, or he goes to a veteran team. Maybe he goes back to Buffalo to end his career. We'll kind of see what happens there. This was just straight flyer with Keaton Mitchell. Not really a 3-down back by any means, but a speed guy, good pass catcher. Maybe gives me a spike week or 2. And then round 27, Joshua Kelly. I do think he is going to get replaced this year by somebody in free agency or the draft. But he kind of showed a little bit last year to where, he could battle out for the RB2 role there. And then last pick, we took Drake Palmer. Big fan of him. I keep flip-flopping between him and Tyler Scott at the end of this draft. Tyler Scott went a couple rounds ahead, so I settled for Drake Palmer. But I think he's a good flyer if he lands on the team. He could be a deep threat. A guy that can, give you 3 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown, maybe a couple games, depending on where it goes. So, kind of got some veterans with a little bit of upside with some rookies sprinkled in at the end here.
Guys, this is awesome. That just these, like, to me, I always say, the late rounds is where really the difference makers are made, especially when you start double digits down. I know this is a 28 rounder, so we're looking pretty deep here, but it's nice to help. Hopefully this is helping our listeners and our audience have some of these, build their targets, because you want to build kind of a list of targets that you're smashing late in these rounds and adding to your builds. Wheeler, we kept yours for last, brother. Maybe go round 22 on.
This is where you go to save the worst for last.
No, the best for last.
I actually thought Wheeler was ahead of you, so that's why I went to Wheeler. Shiva. I thought Shiva was ahead of you, so I apologize.
All good. Yeah, let me go back to round 20 where I just grabbed CEH. We mentioned him earlier, but Pat Carine is pretty high on drafting CEH late just because he's in the 4th year of his contract of his rookie deal. This is kind of his chance to put up or shut up, right? Like, I've never been on CEH before. I always had Jonathan Taylor ahead of him. And every year he's been on my fade list. But when you're talking 20th round and he could be the Chiefs starting running back, that's I like that.
You heard it here, guys. You heard it here. Kevin thinks that he's the next Josh Jacobs. So get your CEH.
I mean, but wait a second, Josh.
Oh my god!
Like, Josh Jacobs was in the 6th round, 7th round, right? Like, this is the 20th round.
8th round was the money. I'm joking, brother. Right. I think that's great. That's great value. That was a good by,
but it is the same philosophy. Like, and I wasn't doing it until I heard somebody else talk about it, and I'm like, you know what?
Even Wheeler, you just look at the position running back. What do you want from your running back? You want him to be on a good offense, and you want opportunity, right? So as much as he hasn't necessarily produced every time, when he's had all those opportunities, he still has those two things there in KC, and you never know in that offense with that coaching when things are going to turn around, right?
JD, can I say something for 15 seconds here? So this is where draft capital matters to the guy that asked earlier.
Very good point. That's a good point.
If CEH was a 7th round pick,
bringing it full,
he wouldn't be drafted right now based on what he's done in the first 3 years of the league. But because he still has that draft capital, he came from LSU, right? Like, there's still that chance that he is good. And I feel like that's where draft capital comes into play.
Eric just brought it full circle, and you guys just brought me a nice title to the show, so I appreciate all of you guys. Beautiful.
Awesome.
Keep going, Wheeler.
We talked about Mechie. I grabbed Pierre Strong. Could be that pass casting back in New England's backfield. We talked about him briefly. It's got a chance to, put up the PPR numbers. I only grabbed Las Vegas defense because they were the last defense available, and there's been studies done by RotoViz that getting the 3 defenses gives you a substantial margin.
Max Crosby's over there too, so I can't
go there. Right. Then Deuce Vaughn, all 5'5", 180 of this rookie.
Danny Woodhead.
I'm going with Darren Sproles. He's my next Darren Sproles.
Oh, there you go.
That's not bad. I love it.
But I mean, like, I wanted to look this up too. I wanted to compare him to Tariq Cohen because I think he's even smaller than Tariq Cohen. Yeah. But yeah, like, just a 25th round pass catching, and actually, I think he was an all-around back in college. I'd have to look into him a little bit. Kansas State, like.
He was a beast.
Was he at a 35% dominator in college? So looks pretty good to me. And then David Bell, I think we mentioned briefly, was a rookie last year. Didn't really get the opportunity. He was injured early on, or he was injured late in his college year. So he could emerge in that Cleveland wide receiver set. As he could emerge as a wide receiver 2 there. We talked about Logan Thomas and Diami Brown, just kind of rounding out the roster and stacking at the end.
Good stuff, guys. This was fun. I mean, it's what better way to spend a Sunday afternoon than do a best ball. We talk about the FFPC, guys. Check out myffpc.com right now. The best balls are on fire. They're like Anthony Richardson's 40. You got to go check it out. Whether you want to play for $5,000, they got the $125 buy-in, $35 buy-in, which are the best ball tournaments. The 35 is super flex. The 125 buy-in is a 1 QB. They're both 20 rounders. The one we did today was a 28 deep, which you can also find on there. They got all kinds of goodness. If you're into fantasy, you're watching this show in March, you're as degenerate as we are, and you want to have some fun, draft some teams as you watch the combine and as we roll towards the NFL draft, that's a place to do it, man. myffpc.com. Guys, this was a blast, man. I appreciate all you guys hanging out. The chat was lit. Always a good time with the chat, so we appreciate
Smash that like button.
Smash the like, smash the subscribe, all the usual. Drop your comments, even if you're watching this after. We'll go around. Bradley, I'll start with you because I know you took time out away from the family today, and we appreciate that. drop all your goodness. You're one of my favorite follows out there in fantasy land right now. So guys, make sure you check out Bradley. Where can they find all your good stuff?
Yeah, I tweet on Twitter at FF Stalder. I'm working on getting my whoa, full screen.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Top-notch production here, brother.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at FF Stalder. I'm doing a revamp of the website, bestballfantasy.com. I'm going to have some free stuff on there. I'm also going to put some behind the paywall stuff as well, some memberships. I'm working on an upside guide that'll be dropping here in the next couple months. So watch your Amazon carts for those. And then, yeah, really excited. The YouTube channel's crushing. Make sure you subscribe to at Best Ball Fantasy.
Appreciate you, Bradley. Eric joining us. You know, we're always in the back end on the DMs. You're always in the best ball draft, especially the nosebleeders. I love getting you on, man. You're a passionate guy. You know your stuff. Tell the peeps where they can find you out there in Twitter land and anything else you want to share before we close this thing out.
Yeah, man, you can find me at the Shiva82, and I don't do much Twitter content or anything like that, man. I'm just more of a guy that likes to shoot the stuff, you know, talk fantasy, man. You know, learn, and then you know, I'm in a lot of drafts right now. I will be. To me, this is the best time of year. We got baseball starting. I'm a big baseball guy. March Madness is like 3 weeks around the corner, and then you got Best Ball, which is my favorite fantasy platform ever. I think it's the greatest invention. Whoever created Best Ball needs to go in the Hall of Fame. It's the greatest platform, dude. I love it. And, you know, I do a couple underdogs, but mainly FFPC, dude. I love everything about it. 28 rounds. Let's get the kickers in there, dude. Mix it up. Defenses, man. And you know, let's go, man.
There really isn't, right? And that's why we talk about the FFPC more than any other platform. We play on a lot of them. We love the variety that it offers, from $5 up to like 10 grand your buy-ins. Kev, always a blast hanging with you. Always a blast drafting. I think I saw this week that you started some rankings. You've got some content coming or dropped. Remind the peeps where they can find all your good stuff. Oh, did I lose you?
Uh-oh. We got a thumbs up, though. That's good, right?
You all right, Kev, or did we lose you? I think we lost him.
Uh-oh.
All right.
All my good stuff
There we go.
at 3013.com. I need to start dropping some stuff. I've been
Wheeler, we're losing you, guys. Sorry, Wheeler. You're cutting in and out. I'll finish it off for you, just because it seems like your stream is. Let's see if he comes back. If not, guys, he's at FF_Wheeler. He's been a top ranker on Fantasy Pros for years now, and you can find his goodness at the 33rd team over there with Josh Larkey and the crew. They're putting out some fire content, so make sure you check Kevin out. We appreciate you guys again in the chat for hanging out with us. We appreciate everyone listening, everyone tuning in for our content. Guys, remember, drop the comments. Let us know what you guys want, but we're going to keep the fire coming. We got a bunch of great guests coming this week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll check you all later.
Go District. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, ball. And I bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Cause I bleed. Hey, bleeding, I ball. Defeated the odds. Didn't see him at all. JD in the pods. I needed it all. I bleeded a lie. You bleeded a lie. Nah, bleeded a lie. And that's what I go do. Facts, let me show you. Happen to know dudes. Draft and they don't do bad and they don't lose. Make you wanna bleed. It's the Go District boys giving you the business and no gimmicks. The best ball drafts got me feeling like it's Christmas. Then it's Christmas all of a sudden, and these riches came from nothing. And I got this all from loving a district. See, I just drafted, forget it. I laugh at the critics, they mad at the digits. I clap back by listening. See, ballin' ain't a problem if you kick it with them off. And I refresh the feed till autumn, then I bleed, go.
Oh man, that was a blast, man.
There's Wheeler. There he is, brother. I read your creds for you. I gave the peeps somewhere to find you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're back, brother. You're back.
All right.